So, welcome back to another episode. And it's really unusual. I got up this morning and I was reading online and I had no idea about this. I read that Final Fantasy VII was 18 years old today. Today got released. And I'm like, oh my freaking god, I can't believe it. And I thought I'd pose a question to you guys. Where were you when Final Fantasy VII came out? What were you doing? Were some of you even born back then? It's so funny, I will never forget the moment when Final Fantasy VII got released. It was a really kind of troubling time for me. And it's something I've never talked about. Really, I kind of mentioned it briefly in another video, but everybody was so hyped for Final Fantasy VII. We were all so super excited about it. But something tragically horrible happened, and that was that my father died. He died from lung cancer, and it happened very, very quickly. My dad felt, he just woke up and he felt terrible one day, so we took him into the hospital, and 2 weeks later he died from lung cancer. It was that fast, so it was a very big shock. It was just traumatic. It was horrible, and so it was just a little bit after that. I obviously, you never recover from something like that, ever. And it was so hard for me because Final Fantasy VII was coming out, something that I had been looking forward to for a long time. And I just couldn't get, it was so crazy, I couldn't get in the mindset of trying to enjoy something after dealing with something so tragic. And and I knew the game was coming out. It was something that did make me happy in life, thinking about that game coming out. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, yeah, it's not going to do it for me. And so Final Fantasy VII is a very ominous, I've never talked about this, it's a very ominous game for myself. It reminds me, I know it sounds terrible to say, of my father passing away. I remember my mom waking me up and saying, hey, there's a phone call from EB Games. EB Games. And I'm like, oh, they're like, yeah, they said that your game is out. And you can pick it up. I'm like, holy cow. And I remember I jumped out of bed. I didn't miss a beat. And I got in the car and I sped there. And I picked up the game. And it was like a moment to get Final Fantasy VII. It was that big of a hyped game. It really was. And I came home and I played it. And my friends were over every day because of what had happened with my dad. And I really thanked them for coming over every day. I really needed them and all that. So I was playing Final Fantasy VII. Trying to, not forget about what happened, but to try to move on and try to find a little bit of happiness because I was so absolutely not happy. And it's so weird. The music always takes me back to that moment, and that's just 18 years ago now, which is just insane. And it was such a hard time. It was such a hard time, and the music, I've never said this, the music haunts me. I like the music in Final Fantasy VII, but it haunts me of that moment. And it's such a... For me, Final Fantasy has always been a very bittersweet game. Because of the timing it came out in. It was just the worst timing. And, you know what I mean? It's forever scarred as that. So, it's 18 years later, and I've never been able to go back and play the game because it's too emotional for me. It's way too tied with that time. So, it's very unusual that they're making a Final Fantasy remake, and I'm excited about it, and I'm kind of glad it is a remake. And because it's very tough for me to go back and play Final Fantasy VII. It's very tough for me to hear the music. It's just like, oh geez, that's so eerie. And that's what, isn't that weird? That's what Final Fantasy VII is for me. Final Fantasy VII is a lot for so many different people with all their experiences with the game. And I just thought it was funny when I woke up this morning that it had been 18 years since, and it just kind of hit me like, wow, doesn't time go by so fast? You can't believe how fast time goes by. And it's funny, and all that. So I just wanted to share my experience with Final Fantasy VII all these years later. 18 years later, and to say what a great game it was and what a true classic it was. And can you believe 18 years has gone by? I never can believe all these great amounts of time pass by the way they do. So anyways, guys, until next time.